If there was a show I loved growing up, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! The memorable characters, the fun duels, the cool monsters, all of it made a children's trading card game exciting, finger guns included. The video games, however, were hit and miss. Sometimes they kept to the card game format, but often they would branch out and try new ideas, such as the PS2 exclusive Duelists of the Roses. This would be my first Yu-Gi-Oh game, and seeing as how I made it to the greatest hits list, that means it has to be good, right? Right? Well, let's find out. Well, you know what? The intro makes it sound as such. This intro, it gets you pumped up and ready to throw down some cards like you never threw cards before. I mean, you could be doing anything, then all of a sudden... Then the game bores you with a long prologue, drawn-out explanations by a rejected Wizrobe, and a half-hour-long tutorial that you might as well read the manual. All is about exciting as a gate blocker. After all that business is done, you get to put in your name. A choice that's more important than you might expect. Depending on the name you choose, you're given 3 decks, each deck having an advantage and disadvantage. There are many decks out there, but depending on how you put your name, you're given a choice of only 3. So, depending on the name you choose, you'll have to choose your deck wisely based on the type of monster you have, as well as... well, we'll get to that later. After you choose your deck, and then we see Kaiba's obsession with Blue Eyes gone overboard... I'm sorry, Roseanne Cruz. Did I mention this game's plot is basically loose on an actual war, except for anime characters? And you're the chosen one. Have fun. There's 2 sides in the current war, White Rose Yorkists and Red Rose Lancaster. The Red Roses are losing, and in a last-ditch effort to save their country, they summon you for your dueling skills. Yes, your dueling skills, because instead of shooting people or stabbing people, they just play fun children's trading card games. Because you know what they say about war?
War is hell.
Once you choose your side, you have to defeat the other Rose card holders, obtain the cards, and then you can be sent home. It's ridiculous, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh plot. Moving on. You have your goal, you choose your duelist, it's time to duel at last, and... well, this seems useless now. Battles in this game are followed by the perfect rule. And with the perfect rule gives a new playing field. One that takes time to get used to. Basically, duels are played on a grid, each player represented by a deck leader. Just like the game, if you lose your life points, you lose the duel. But there's more elements in play that makes it interesting. First, you can only play 1 card per turn, whether monster or spell and trap. You can also move those cards and your leader around the grid once per turn. To summon monsters, however, you need enough star points. For example, to summon a level 3 monster, you need at least 3 star points. Spells and traps don't need points, but take your summon, so use them wisely. And monsters can be placed in defense mode, but that takes their movement, so plan accordingly. To attack, just move your monster on an opponent's card or deck leader and hope for the best. Damage treated just like the card game. If you move onto a spell or trap, however, it can either fade away or activate, depending on what kind of card it is. Once a card is gone, off to the graveyard it goes, to not be used again unless by a special effect. And when you're done with that, it's the opponent's turn, who could do the same thing you can. Sounds simple, right? Well, good. Have a seat, because here's where it gets messed up. Each square on the field has a terrain on it. Mini field spells, if you will. A monster can either gain attack and defense or lose attack and defense depending on the field. Think of it like the field power bonus from Season 1, except not thrown in because the official rules weren't concrete yet. I'm not kidding, look it up. These can be used to anyone's advantage when used properly, or go against you if you rush in without thinking. There are even special fields that could block your movement or destroy your monster if it has high attack points. Each duelist has a special field, so analyzing the field before your move is crucial. When you attack a monster, an animation plays that shows the monsters in the field battling, which is honestly one of the best parts of the game. Seeing the monsters in 3D is one of the coolest parts, since you finally get to see what they look like in full force. You can even see the monsters in the deck editor and see how much effort went into each monster, and I really appreciate that. Although it does lead to duels lasting longer than it should, since each turn can take a while to finish. Don't be surprised if each duel lasts as much, or if not more, than the tutorial. Speaking of the deck editor, after each win, you get a spin of the Graveyard Roulette, which is where opponents' cards they use are up for grabs. The catch is whatever square it lands on is the card you get, and you don't get multiples if more than one shows up. You only get one card of that. Once you get a lot more cards, you'll be able to use it in the deck editor itself, which is the most painful part of the game. See, in order to even duel your opponent, your duel points must be lower than your opponent's. As for the legend says, you can only get a rose card if your total is lower than your opponent's. So you can't go cards are blazing, I'm afraid. And your deck must, I repeat, must have 40 cards or else it's not good. In other words, you need to adapt on the fly with removing cards and changing your strategy. Possibly leading the cards you just won not even being used right after. It's a sore spot on an otherwise okay card system, for those unprepared. Even if you are prepared though, in the end it's still Yu-Gi-Oh! So luck will also have to be on your side. Otherwise you just have to take an L like a champ and try again. Your pathway actually depends on your rose. White roses get to choose from one of two opponents in branching paths, while red roses have a linear path to each opponent. Either way, you need to defeat each of the 8 opponents to face off against the rose leader, and once you beat them, you then take on the final boss. Each opponent, if you haven't noticed by now, is based on a character from the anime. You have obvious choices like Joey, Pegasus, Mako, Bakura, but then odd choices like Panic, Solomon, and Bones? Oh come on, who even remembers Bones? Well, he's in dueling, so I suppose someone did. Even if it's a mobile game. The final boss, though... Wow, that sure is a name. Then again, as long as it's not Flip Turner, I think we'll all be okay. God, I hate Flip Turner. I have to say, though, presentation-wise, it could be worse. The monsters are the main highlight, but everything else, like the character portraits or world map, are nothing special. Just a way to show what each character looks like in that era, and that's it. The music, however, though few tracks there are for the most part enjoyable. You have different duel themes depending on the rose side you choose, and exclusive themes for Yugi, Kaiba, and the final boss. And they're pretty good. Except for the Lancastrian theme, which sounds like each duelist is a joke. Either that or they're out for tea. Ah yes, let's have a lovely duel, chap. I can't even do it with a straight face. Strangely enough though, there's no voice acting in this game. I'm not entirely sure why, but it feels weird they're gonna get the voice actors and actresses back to reprise their roles. Especially with a game that heavily relies on text whenever cutscenes show up. And then again, it's just a nitpick, not really a huge hindrance here. And with that, I don't think there's much else I can say. There is a 2-player mode, but I never got the chance to try it out. But with the game that I was able to play, yeah, I don't really see a reason why you need to drop everything just to play it. The gameplay, while fun to master, can feel draggy at times, especially if luck isn't on your side. The presentation is just okay, even with some good music, but there's not many highlights except for Yugi's theme and the opening. This isn't a game meant for everyone, and even with major fans in mind, it's a hard sell. If you're honestly curious, it could be worth a look, but it might be good to activate your trap hole and leave it be. Nowadays, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans can go back to Legacy of the Duelist. If you want to follow the card game's rules as closely as you could, this would be the best way to do it. I wouldn't mind though seeing Konami try a new gameplay style with Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, other than Duelists of the Rose, I can't think of another bad example of when it... I'm the PS2Man, and I regret my previous statement. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, well, you know what to do. If you want to keep up with any updates, make sure to follow Twitter, and if you want to catch out any of my streams, feel free to check out my Twitch. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Take care everyone.